but let's start. So here I actually took our vision, because that's something we are working with every day. We want to be a world-leading coloring solution for textiles to facilitate reuse and recycling. And that's exactly what we are working with. We're working with a coloring solution that you can color and then decolor textiles without harming the quality of the fiber. So I will start a little bit about some background information about the textile industry. And I don't know how familiar you are with these numbers, but I will briefly highlight them for you. So an average Swede today buy approximately 14 kilograms of textiles. And 7.5 of those kilograms are actually thrown away. So this means like we are consuming enormous amount of textiles, and we're also throwing away a lot. And unfortunately, we're not throwing away these textiles in recycling bags. We are rather, unfortunately, throwing away them in the trash can. And this is a huge problem we have in Sweden. It's not easy enough to recycling textiles. And this is something that Sweden and the regions are working hard on right now, that it's actually going to be easier to recycling textiles. But it has been a big problem, and it's a problem we have faced when we have started to work with this as well. There is not a functional system that works to actually recycling textiles. It's getting better and it's coming, but not in the way we want it. And the last number I want you to be aware of in this presentation is like 80% of the climate impact is coming from the production stage when we're producing textiles. So that means like the biggest part of the climate impact of actually producing a textiles come from the production stage. And the rest of those 20% is logistics, is distributions, and other kind of activities relating to when we buy a textiles. So I want you to have that in mind, that the biggest part of the climate impact is actually occurring in the production stage. So, and I also want you to be aware of this like 3 drivers we have been identifying when we have been working with this company and this project. What has been driving us to actually develop our technology and develop our company. So first of all, new textile disposal regulations. There are coming regulations in Sweden. Hopefully they are starting 2022. And it's also coming more regulation like on the European level, 2025. And this means like that the company or the person putting a product on the market need to be responsible for the waste. So that means like it puts a lot of pressure on companies to actually being able to handle the effect of actually putting a product on the market. And the other one that we have seen, like when we have been working with this, is also the increased demand for recycled materials. And that has to do with a lot of factors, but one factor is, for example, cotton, who is one of the most used fiber in textiles. That one is, it's not possible to grow more cotton than we do today. So we need to find better or material that we can use over and over again. So that's something also we have seen. There's a huge demand for recycled materials on the market today. And the last one is change consumer behavior and also a growing middle class. This applies more to the growing middle class, applies more to the world. People get it better. They can afford to buy new clothes. And for example, that garment you put in a recycle bag is usually sometimes sent down to Africa, where they buy it on a second-hand market. But there they have seen like they don't want our old clothes, they want to buy new clothes. So that's, for example, a problem. We can't take care of all textiles we have been using here. And also, we are aware of actually not buying a lot of clothes. We want to buy a good material. We want to buy something that are fair made. So us as consumer have much higher standard, and we have much higher requirement from the company we're buying. So now I'm going to talk a little about the history of the company and how this company was formed. I actually talked with Hannah yesterday. Hannah and Romain is the two of the people who have started this project, who later became Vividye. But Hannah said it was actually in the lunchroom the innovation started. Hannah was presenting for Romain that it's a huge problem to remove color from textiles. And why is removing color a big problem then? And why do we need to do that? That's because, like, if you can't remove the color on a textile, it's harder to recycling the textile. Because if you're recycling, for example, my yellow t-shirt, and the garment, the fiber turns out to be yellow, then we need to make new clothes of a yellow fiber. And maybe we want a white t-shirt instead. So that's the reason why it's important to actually remove the color, to be able to make those garments that you want to do with certain colors. When Hannah presented that this was a huge problem, and she was actually part of something that called Mistra Future Fashion, that has been an initiative in Sweden, where it has been divided in 4 different parts. And one of these part was to increase recycling in Sweden. So she was working at Chalmers, both Chalmers and Rice, to actually increase the use of recycled material. And then Romain there, as a surface chemistry, said like, yeah, I think I have a solution for your problem. So they started this project together. They were applying for money, and then Anna-Karin came into the picture. She was working 4 years together with Romain to get a solution that worked great to actually color and then remove color on the textile. So that was 4 years before we came into the picture. So Romain and Anna-Karin went to Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship, where they said, hey, we have a cool solution, but we need people to take it to the market. And there I have asked Romain, what was the reason why you came to Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship? Why didn't you do it by yourself? And he basically said, like, I don't have knowledge within creating a company. I don't have knowledge of how to take a product on the market. So I think that has been like a very important aspect when we have been working with it. We know we are skilled in different fields, and we know we are good at certain stuff. So that was actually there, he allowed us to work on with the project. And that turns out to be Vividye 2020. And that was, yeah, a little bit more than a year ago. So that was from there we start to work as a company. So what do we have then? Here I'm standing and talk about a lot of problems, but here is actually our solution that we solve some of the problems with. We have decided to focus on prints right now. And that means that we could print certain logo types, we can print name tags, we can print patterns. And then whenever you want to get rid of the print, you use our special detergent formulation. And our detergent formulation is made to actually remove the color without harming the quality of the fiber. Because that's also one issue when you try to remove color, you harm the quality of the fiber. But that's something we don't do with our method. And then again, you can reprint it over and over again. And right now we are doing this with the screen printing method, but we're looking into apply it to different kind of textile printers as well. And here I actually brought the print. So this is one of our prints. So this is an example of logotypes, or yeah, this is a short text we have done. So this print can you remove, and then you can reprint it over and over again. So why do you want to have a reversible printing technology then? This allows us to use the garment over and over again. And we have seen a huge demand for actually changing logotypes. It has been companies who want to be, first of all, they want to be circular as everyone else, but they also see a need like, okay, with this technology, we can personalize our garments. And we're also able to use the same garments to this different kind of areas. So garments can have many different user areas. So by this, we prolong the life of the garments. And I want to show you this one. This is from the report, Mistra Future Fashion. So you see the second one, the cycle table. So actually, if you prolong the life, the double amount of time, you actually decrease the environmental impact with more than 50%. So take this one t-shirt, for example. It's in average use 30 times. So Swede used this one in average 30 times. And if you extend that time to 60 times, you have actually decreased the environmental impact by 50%. So have that in mind next time you're considered to throw away your t-shirt. So, and here I brought an example. This is like a statement from Patagonia. You don't need to read the statement if you don't want to. But it basically said like they have decided to not do any personalized logotypes anymore. Because they say like, yeah, we know people gonna quit. We know people gonna change work. So what happens with your garment where it says Johanna? Yeah, the company needs to throw it away because there is nobody who want to have a t-shirt with Johanna on it. You want to have your own name. So that's basically the reason why they have said, no, we're not going to have any logotypes anymore because we want the garment to be living as long as possible. And that's here, for example, we have a solution on one of their not biggest problem, but a huge problem they have. Because that's something we have seen, it's a huge demand from companies. They want to have it personalized. They don't want to have the boring white t-shirt. You want it to be yours. So here it's an example where a company state that like, okay, we know it's a problem with the garments are not used long enough. So we need to find a solution of this. So, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the partners we're working with right now. Yeah, I have Chalmers Ventures and Chalmers in the top, but I also want to highlight Vargen Innovation because they have been very useful for us and so helpful. It's an innovation center in Vänersborg, where they work with like new materials and they work towards a more circular textile industry. But then I also want to tell you a little bit about the project we have running now. We have a pilot together with Dina Tricot, where we're going to try a certain set of textiles. I'm not allowed to tell you about exactly what we're going to do, but they want to show their customers that you can actually use a garment over and over again. So that's on the fashion side. And we have also decided to look in more to the healthcare side. And there we're working with Textile and Heiko. And those are providers with garments from the healthcare. So they want, for example, us to be able to have the same garments to Region Göteborg as Region Värmland, for example. So they want the garment to actually be able to circulate among regions, because there as well, we want to change logotypes, we want to change names, and we decide, okay, we're going to have a different color on our garments. So there you can be flexible to use the garments around different customers. And their textiles, for example, they want them to last for 10 years. And I don't know how you see it, but it's not that many people who have exactly the same position for 10 years. You usually change either between companies or you change within the organization. So that means like there is a demand for changing logotypes. And we have also looked into the event business, and I could say like this is not the best time to evaluate the event business during Corona times. So that's something that we have on pause. So instead we have decided to go more for those tracks I have talked about. Yes, so here is the sustainability goals we're working with. Extend the use of textile, extend the life of textiles, less resources needed and less emission. So, and here of course, I want to highlight our amazing team. Without the team, this wouldn't be possible. And that's something I remember when I started the Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship, everybody talked about this team. And I said, how hard could that be? But it's like, here is a result of this. We would never be here without this great team and without people around us. Those lunches you take with people that you didn't expect anything from could lead to something, a new idea or a new like way of thinking. So that's something I really want to highlight, and something that I'm very thankful about, that don't be afraid of meeting people, because that's exactly where our innovation come from. Hannah talked to Romain and now we formed this company 5 years later. So be open-minded. That's one of the biggest learning. So here we see the team. It's me, Erik, Gustav, and Romain. And we also had Hanna and Anna-Karin in the bottom. So it's currently us working with this company right now. But we actually we have actually recruited. So we had a new girl coming in, gonna work for us as the chemist. She's moving down from Stockholm, coming from KTH. She probably saw something in Chalmers, so we're very happy about that. Yeah, and of course, this is like the topic of this talk, a picture from ELLE. That was an kind of a step where everything, like the whole fall, we have been like talking to people, like asking people, and like we have been, calling those 50 calls. But after this event, people started to come to us and say like, hey, this is a solution we need, and this is a solution we have been looking for. And some of those prices have also helped, of course. But there is like, I mean, prices is not everything, and the business creation is the most important part, but this has helped us along the way. So we're thankful for that, and it helps us to drive this forward. And that was everything from me. And now I want you to ask me questions if you have anyone.